Hello, I'm Laura Palacio and my partner is Andrea Cortez, and we are going to talk about English in Asia. So first I'm going to start with the history. So English language in Asian countries is closely related to the dispersals of English, which consists of two kinds of hypotheses. The first one involved the migration of many people from the south and eastern part of England to America and Australia. The second one involved the colonization of Asia and Africa and led to the development of the English as a second language. English's dispersals in Southeast Asia and the South Pacific started in the late 18th century. The main countries involved were Singapore, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and the Philippines. Stamford Raffles was an administrator of the British East India country. He played an important role in the founding of Singapore as part of the British colonial empire in 1819. Around the same time, other major British centers were founded in Malaysia, and in 1842 Hong Kong was added to Britain. After the Spanish-American War of the end of the 19th century, the United States was granted sovereignty over the Philippines. Throughout the above historical development, English came to play a very important influence over many Asian countries. Although there are a few native English speakers in Asia, there are a large number of the population that uses English as a second or even as a third language. Some of them are India, Nepal, Pakistan, Singapore, and Philippines. However, the exact number of people who speak it in Asia is hard to ascertain. On the other hand, thousands of locals and immigrants are also English speakers in countries like China, Japan, Indonesia, South Korea, and Vietnam.
Okay, phonological difference, Asian influence. The term New English refers to forms of English we have arisen as second language varieties in parts of the world, chiefly in Africa and Asia, where British colonial influence was strong, but where there was a significant amount of settled English. Malaysian English tends to be neurotic, and the interdental fricatives are generally realized as stops. A large range of grammatic markers is to be found in speech Malaysian English, which derive from forms of Chinese. There are a number of elements that characterize the more extreme forms of South Asian English. In terms of pronunciations, many speakers don't differentiate between the sounds v and wa. They may also replace in words like think with a t and dub sound, as no Indian language contains these consonants. Chinese learners in English have some problems with English pronunciation. For example, problems in semantical aspects are primarily concerned with the articulation of single phonemes or combination of phonemes in both vowels and consonants, and also in supramental areas. Chinese learners are found to have problems with stress and intonation. Problems with vowels. In comparing the phonological systems of Chinese and English, since it differs greatly in the number of vowels, while English has 15 vowels, Chinese has only 5 vowels. Because of this difference, Chinese learners need to learn how to pronounce many new vowels when they start to learn English. Even when a vowel exists in both Chinese and English, the sounds, manner of articulation, and place of articulation are different. For example, most Chinese learners don't distinguish the long E from the short E when they speak English. They tend to maintain the same length when articulating them in different words, such as sheep and sheep. Chinese learners often confuse a with a. Consequently, English speakers often find it hard to follow Chinese learners when they try to say bite or but. Likewise, the English diphthong "ow" tends to be missed with "o". Therefore, it can be hard to distinguish Chinese learners' pronunciation of house and horse. Problems with consonants. Chinese speakers generally have trouble with dental fricative and th. In English, as there are no dental fricative in Mandarin Chinese. Chinese learners find it difficult to hear the difference between L and R, and so may mispronounce right and rise as like and lies. So turn Chinese speakers have a similar difficulty in distinguishing L and N. Phonetic problems. In Chinese, each syllable commonly starts with a consonant and ends with a vowel, while in English, a syllable can start with a consonant cluster and can end with either a vowel or a consonant. Chinese learners tend to add a vowel after a consonant, which has after P, B, T, D, K, and G, as these consonants only appear in the initial spot in a Chinese syllable. For instance, Chinese students tend to pronounce hot as hotte and good as good. Stress problems. In Mandarin Chinese, the same syllable can be pronounced in 4 different tones. These tones are the high level tone, high rising tone, low rising tone, and high falling tone. English is a stressed accent language, which marks a stressed syllable by lengthening the vowel in that syllable. Learners generally appeared uncertain when marking the stress in multisyllabic words.
As my partner said, Asian students have many problems with pronunciation, which has allowed commenters to perform terms such as Hinglish, that means Hindi English, Pinglish is Pakistani English, and Singlish is Singapore English. And now we are going to show you some examples. There are some audio records with the most common problems that Asian students can have. The most common problems that Asian learners can have is a retroflex type R. Since the consonant R is pronounced by flicking the tip of the tongue against the roof of the mouth, thus making only very brief and rapid contact.
And I was studying for electronic engineering.
The next feature is an aspirated P, since there is no release of air when P presents a vowel in words like pin and pot.
And so what happened that my parents found a suitable match. Our two sisters met in a party in different town where our parents lived.
I just realized that Indian food is becoming so popular that one day it will land on the shelf of the supermarket with vengeance. And it did.
The sounds in words such as some and three is pronounced using a T sound, and in words such as this and thus using a D sound. For example,
I just could not think that I could marry anybody in this country.
Asian learners also have problems with grammar, because sometimes they mix words in their native language and English. For example,
we didn't have cardigans, but what we had shawls, like what they call chadar. And they start picking on those. I said, Mom, they're picking our chulgose, why?
And specialized ice cream, which you would call it kulfi.